Hi again guys, and welcome to another episode of Toolbox TV. If homeowners are the lifeblood of every local domestic electrician, then letting agents have got to be the jam on top of that bread and butter. And yet we seem to have this perennial problem of electricians trying to get in with letting agents. Now the problem always seems to be, or the problem that gets reported back to me always seems to be, that they already have somebody, that they already have a relationship with an electrician and that they're happy using him. So how do I have a chance of getting in? Problem is, some guys tend to give up at that stage and think, well, there's nothing there for me, so I'll move on and I'll try the next one, and then there's nothing there for me, so I'll move on and I'll try the next one. I have a technique that I've used now for a number of years, and it has served me well, and it's helped me to build up a small collection of letting agents that I do work with. And the key is not to put all your eggs in one basket, but to actually build a relationship with a number of local letting agents who you can get a small amount of work from each of them, and then that of course collects into a large amount of work. What tends to happen is, or what the problem seems to be, is that electricians like you and I want to get all of the work from the electrician. We want to become their favorite electrician. We want to become their only electrician. And that's where fences start getting built up, and where it becomes really hard then to break the ice and get in with that estate agent. Because if they have a relationship with somebody for a number of years and you're threatening that relationship, then you've got no chance at all. So what do? Well, what I tend to do is, in the first instance, of course, like everybody, you send a letter, and you'll send a letter to a number of local letting agents in your area, and in that letter you will explain who you are, the type of services that you actually provide, and include then with the letter all of your relevant documents. So you'll put in your registration with your awarding body, whether it's the NIC or Alexa or whatever it might be that you're registered with. You'll put in the details of your Part P scheme, Part P registration, and include also then your public liability insurance, so that they know that you are, number one, established, number two, trustworthy, and number two, you're covered in terms of the insurance that they require. Now, what's the benefit in sending all that up front? Well, if they need your services, they now have all of that on file, because most estate agents, most letting agents will not use you until they have seen those documents. So if you just send a covering letter and you explain who you are and what you do, but you haven't sent the supporting documents, well, if they need your services next week, then they're not going to call you simply because they haven't got your details on file. They'll go to somebody that they've got on file, and they'll use the person that they've got on file. So that's tip number one. Make sure that you include in any introductory letter that you send to them all of the relevant details that will help them to use you pretty much immediately. That's number one. Now again, most guys tend to send these letters out. They will then sit back, and if nothing happens, they do no more. When in fact, what you need to do is follow up. And in my book, follow up means follow up until you get the result that you want. Not just follow up with a phone call, not just follow up with a visit, not just follow up with another letter and then leave it at that, but actually follow up with these people until such time as you have built a relationship with them and they will start using you. Now there's a number of ways that we can follow up. We can follow up by sending out more letters, we can follow up by making phone calls, and we can follow up by sending out automated emails, which again is a good way to keep your name on top of their list, but you don't want to become annoying. So if you're going to send out recurring emails, if you're going to put them into an autoresponder system, then make sure that the emails you're sending to them are of some value to them. So don't just be begging for work, don't just be looking for work. Make sure you're sending out something of value. It's very easy these days to send information of value for letting agents, because if you keep on top of what's going on in the industry, then you can do Google searches, pick out information that's relevant to landlords, estate agents, letting agents, managing agents. You can compile that into a brief report and email that out once a month to your list of letting agents. valuable information, keep them abreast of the law, keep them abreast of the regulations, and it helps them then to see you as an expert in your field, and it also helps them to remember your name if they're getting an email from you once a month with some valuable information, not just an email saying give me some work. Yeah. So if you're going to use the autoresponder method, then do it that way. The one I prefer is to actually go in and visit them occasionally. Find reasons to just pop in and say hello. Ask to see the lettings manager. Now sometimes they will be out on calls, and other times there'll be a gatekeeper, like a secretary or somebody in the way. But try and get in front of the person responsible for the lettings within that letting agency. The lettings manager is typically the person, the guy or the girl to see. And then when you get in front of them, you need to make an offer. Like any sort of sales position, you need to make an offer. But unlike if you were trying to sell a service to a homeowner, the offer that you need to make with your letting agent needs to be slightly different. And mine normally goes along these lines. I don't particularly want all of your work. What I would like to do is be one of the electricians on your reserve list when your normal guy isn't able to make it, for whatever reason. Now, that comes across as being completely non-threatening. You're not threatening the relationship they have with the existing person. You're not coming across as, I want all of your work. You are simply making the offer that you're available. If their other guy isn't available for whatever reason, then you'll happily pick up the bits and pieces. Now, the nice thing about that, as I said, is number one, it doesn't come across as threatening. Number two, you've got much more of a chance of getting a small amount of work off of them doing this approach than you have by going in and saying, we're so much better than anybody else that you're using. We can deal with this, we can deal with that. We are the people that you need to be working with. So this nice timid approach of, put me on your list, don't want all your work. In fact, you know what, if I got it all, I couldn't handle it. But what I would like is for you to remember me when your other guy can't do it. And these opportunities always arise because the person that they have the relationship with, the person that they are working with, will from time to time take holidays, be sick, be too busy, be tied up on another project. And it's nice for your letting agent to know and to understand they have a reserve, somebody that they can call. Now, the interesting side on this is, and the downside on this is, when that call comes, and it will come, but when that call comes, you need to deliver. And that means that if you genuinely want to get in with that letting agent, if you genuinely want to have their business, then you need to be prepared when that phone rings and they ask for you to deal with a problem because their regular guy isn't available. You need to be able to drop what you're doing and go and deal with it. And then when you've dealt with it, you need to over-deliver. A bit like everything I try and encourage you guys to do. You need to over-deliver on the service. What do we mean by that? Well, we all know that letting agents don't like headaches. They don't like to have tenants who are complaining and moaning. They don't like to have landlords who are harassing them to get stuff done. So when you go to deal with the issue, deal with it, number one, correctly, but number two, report back to the managing agent, report back to the letting agent what the problem was, how long it took you to deal with it, what the likely cost is. I'm not saying send the invoice straight away, but you're reporting back in the form of an email instantly. So pick up your iPhone or your iPad or whatever you use and send that letting agent a report immediately. I replaced a bayonet cap light fitting because the old one had burnt out, and it took me just under an hour. Our minimum charge is whatever it is, and the invoice will be in the post on its way to you. Would you like it addressed to the landlord or to yourselves? What's happening there is you're giving the letting agent information that they can pass on to the landlord, which helps to make them look good. And by making them look good, you look good. And then the next time that their guy is not available, they're going to call you again. And it's not going to take long before you eventually become their go-to guy. But you have to play the long game. You have to take it slowly, and you have to build on a relationship and not expect to just go in there instantly and take all of the work. So I hope that has given you some kind of an indication or some kind of a picture as to how you actually build that relationship with your letting agents so that you can become their go-to electrician. So until the next time, continue to learn and grow, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi, I'm James Dewane, founder of My Electricians Toolbox and the author of the Sparks Blueprint to Marketing for Local Trades. If you've enjoyed this video, why don't you pop over to jdewane.com and take advantage of our free marketing training for electricians. I look forward to seeing you over there.